Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 419. So, let's see how we go today.
Hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving
for those hiding aliens.
I'm hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love,
I'm hate. Everybody hates me there. The subs are still stalled, so I'm not sure what's going on. But we carry on as per normal. I'll keep going until the funds are run out.
I'm loving,
Then you have to go to someone else for your real news, if there's any out there that does what I do. Hello, good to be back, good to be back. More depressing stuff and ufology to go over. I think there might be light at the end of the table eventually, but on the light at the end of the tunnel eventually, but who knows? The greed and money out there has really corrupted things, and fame, of course. So, what are we doing today? We're doing... Let me just check the audio. Let me just check the audio. Let me just check the audio. Yep, that's good. We're doing the Pentagon Report update. Oh, boring. But I never really gave my opinion on it. But I have... replied to people in comments, especially on BitChute, what I thought would be happening, and I was bang on. So we go over that and give my thoughts on it. And then we'll have a look over more of this UFO noise out there. I know I've got a few cases on back burner here. We'll do a recap on the Calvine, because I missed off and the other web page, so we'll see what it says. So yeah, bring it up. Alright, I've got to type up the side chat first. Hello, anyone out there? Okay, and welcome to the Pleasure Zone Out There channel. Live stream 419. And what are we covering today? Pentagon reports and UFO videos and more. Well, there's always plenty to do. Just play it by ear, because you never get time to research. Just keeping up with the daily stuff. But yeah, I need to find some more time to do research, like my old UFO episodes I used to do, and see if I can find connections and patterns. And maybe, like this guy here is trying to do. What's his name? This guy here. Straff Wilson. He's a paranormal investigator, I guess. So Ufologist seeks Phil Walkers, who photographed the UFO above Pitlochry in 1919, which is known as the Calvine. That location there. So we'll just go over this. So we'll just make it full screen. Okay, it's got some ads at 9, so that thing pops down. A paranormal investigator is taken to Phil Walkers, who photographed a UFO near Pitlochry in 1990, to come forward. Hey. Paranormal investigators asking to Hill Walkers, who photographed. Okay, that's just the way you read it. Hill Walkers, who photographed a UFO near Pitlochry in 1990, to come forward after the Ministry of Defence sealed records of the sighting for another 52 years. I thought it was 50. When was this report? 2020, was it? Yep, October. Okay, so that's even worse than 50 years. But it is 2072 here, so I did say that last time. Straff Wilson wants to meet the pair who captured 6 images. I thought it was only 5. See, that's changed. Of a unidentified flying object over Calvine and Highland, Perth, Sure, in August 1990. So all these different little names they have in the UK. I suppose it's a bit like counties in America. Images and files related to the sighting were supposed to be public in January after a 30-year wait. You'd think 30 years would be enough. But the MOD has now said the records won't be released until 2072, so a lot of us won't be around. The Calvine incident happened on August the 4th, 1990. So when would that be? That would be heading to UK winter. August, that's normally our summer in New Zealand. Starting off, so it must be heading into winter. So a large diamond-shaped object. Only from the side though, it doesn't mean they saw it from the top. Hovering, unless it banked, of course. Again, that's why we need to see the photographs, I guess. Hovering for about 10 minutes before it shot upwards in great speed. The pair said they saw a military aircraft make a number of 2-level passes while UFO sat above the village. Interesting. Now, why didn't anyone else in the village see it? Or did they? So I might have some secret photographs there. I wonder if anyone's done some investigation there. But what happens is most people give up their photographs to the military thinking they're going to get them back, and they never do they? One of the witnesses took 6 colour photographs. See, colour is even rare as well. Normally it's blue photo, black and white. nighttime shots of the daylight incident, which have never been made public. And that's a crime to the world, I think. Crime to us. Someone should be held liable, I reckon. Who cares if aliens are real, you know? Who cares if they can't stop them coming down and abducting people? At least we'd then be aware of it, and maybe all the people would start thinking of ways to communicate with them and stop the abductions. Maybe there'd be volunteers if they knew the reason behind it, and they wouldn't need to abduct. There's also people who like to volunteer for stuff, as long as they get something out of it themselves, like trips on UFO to other planets and stuff, you know. Especially if they're dying from something, they'd be gladly be guinea pigs. Maybe they fix them up, especially if they've got cancer. There's all sorts of possibilities. Unless it's very darker than that. You've probably heard about my multiverse theory that explains everything from time travel, time slips, Bigfoots, ghosts, and aliens, and skinwalkers and portals. That's episode 324. I've just added some chapters to it, actually. Makes it easier to skim through it. But I really should redo it again. You know, the first time was a test run for a new fix for the computer, because it was playing up since Windows Update. Why is it not coming up? Right, had the wrong selection. So if you type in universe and scroll down till you find the one with planets, that's the one to watch. Like I said, I probably need to redo it again and slim it down a wee bit. But with chapters, it makes it really easy. So if you want to hear the guts of my theory without the lead up to all the different components, you can just jump to chapter 15. Chapter 15, Multiverse, explains everything. Okay. Just post it down the side there. So when you play this here on YouTube, it's the only one that has it at the moment, you come up with this information underneath here. You just click on the little arrow and it gives you a rundown of all the different parts in the presentation, from atom to what our universe is, and how our universe could be one of many, and how there could be crossover of species and stuff. But if you go down to 15, now the main topic of multiverse that can explain everything. So that's where it jumps in halfway through. So I managed to finish that last night. Big job. Couple of hours work. I'm not sure why I bother, because not many people are interested in it. But maybe someone will come along in the future and think, oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's this? Got a new follower, is it? I have to go and check. Oh yeah, a new follow. Welcome aboard. So yeah, this is an unscripted presentation basically. So I'm just going where my mind takes me. But yeah, you need to find some time to watch my theory on the universe. I can explain everything really, from Bermuda Triangle, where people vanish and people get short distances. They sort of pop into a cloud system and then pop out. If you go through my theory, you'll see it makes sense. What I present compared to all the other theories out there that sort of write it off as mental. People being mental. So, which is untrue. There's a lot of clever people out there that have these experiences. Don't think they're mental. And a lot of credible people out there. But there's been a lot of talk again lately whether there's a consciousness to the universe. And that could be also part of the multiverse model that I've put together. In the sense that everything's energy, and it could sort of how would you say it? If you could imagine that your knowledge is actually stored within the depths of an atom in trillions of bits of information through fractal energy and dense particles within the atom, then if you die, the atom still exists, right? The atom's not destroyed, so the information in it's not destroyed. So is there somehow that the information can be retrieved? It's possible. In the energy field that we don't know about, which is through the dark energy level. And some of these people that are able to class themselves as mediums, maybe not actually talking to the spirit, but maybe interacting with this information that's stored in the atom where the person still thinks they're living. It's kind of really abstract thinking, it's really out of box thinking. So in a way, if you know that information is stored in atoms forever, and you got millions of atoms, it just sort of blows your mind that somehow if the aliens are able to connect into the information bank, they would know lots of past things, right? And our knowledge level. And because it's only local to our planets, it's only these atoms on the planet that are being affected. And then you got millions of planets out there, billions of planets, trillions of planets. We don't know how big the universe is. So yeah, it's mind-boggling in the true sense. But that's something else. That's way out there thinking. Multi-universe is more, probably more likely to be proven than consciousness. Out of body and all that sort of stuff, but it might be all linked, is what I'm saying. The same field that the energy that the atoms absorb may be part of that connection, where you can actually leave your body somehow. The information is stored in the atoms, though, but you can somehow transport into that level of energy and then have like a awakening, right? Connecting with other minds that are also able to get into that same field. But how would you prove it? You can run off theories all you like and abstract theories, but prove them another thing. Anyway, that was a bit of a deep thought, so let's get back to this one, where the guy wants to talk to these witnesses and bypass the government again. Whenever government gets involved, you know there's going to be cover-up, right? Especially when something's legit. So here, the pair said they saw a military aircraft make a number of low-level passes. So does that mean that they happened to be doing training and they saw it? Were they sent near, like the Nimitz encounter, to go and photograph it and check it out? Have they got more information on this incident than what those men took? So more questions than answers. Is it us or them? Them being aliens rather than them being the Ruskies. And the secrecy surrounding the Pitlochry UFO files. So I suppose you'd have to make notice of all the different names they use here. It's got 3 different names for the same UFO incident. And the 52-year-old postponement has heightened Straff's suspicions, so it's certainly heightened mine as well. I wonder if he's found anything out since 2020, or if anyone's come to him secretly. With the vital information relating to the sighting under lock and key for another 5 decades, he reckons, well, you got nothing else to lose if you're going to die in that time. You could probably take the risk and break some non-disclosures. Would you go to jail if you knew the truth? Sure you would. It's like something that you really want to know, whether your aliens were here and they do exist and they are got advanced technology, over going to prison over it, and maybe getting the information out from prison. You know how, well, they're more likely to knock you off like Epstein, right? So it never gets out. But then Google will tell you he committed suicide. Anything like that you're not allowed to talk about. So, it speaks volumes when the government does that. It certainly does. Trying to hide something in plain sight. Or just hiding. It's one of the most important sightings in Britain. Yep, I'd say it'd be number 1. If not the world. In fact, I think he's right here. I think it is the number 1 in the world. I don't think anyone else, not even the Navy, have decent photographs of these so-called Tic Tacs. So if you look at a diamond-shaped UFO on the side, it does kind of look like a Tic Tac, doesn't it? You'd have to see my previous episode because I have a picture there. But yeah, it didn't have any wings or anything, and it went vertically up, same as the Tic Tac, which was like 14 years later, right? Someone's got to know a lot more what's going on. The pictures must be quite significant if we could get the 2 hill walkers to come forward. Even if they went under hypnosis maybe and drew pictures, more pictures maybe, I don't know. Back then people might have been scared of the government, but I don't think they have scared them. Well, it's more in the case that UK could have been through war, right? With the bombs. And they always used to use that thing, lips can sink ships, right? So if you talked about some secret stuff, it would maybe leak around and get to the wrong ears, the enemy, and they would sabotage. Not sure if I remember seeing him before. Does look familiar. Former technician, what's this? Glasgow University and Stirling University. Straff has been interested in the case since he was young. Yep. And the only time I heard about it was through Nick Pope, of course. So what else out there may be secret like this? With his background in science, he has been left frustrated at the lack of information being made available, which is the same thing, really. Obviously, working in science, you have to be a realist. Yes, you do. This is coming a bit left field of science. Straff is not alone in believing the Calvine sighting to be of importance. I'd say it's bigger than Nimitz. Nick Pope, who worked for the MOD, it gets a bit tiring with Nick Pope though, for 21 years has seen the photographs and said they appeared to show a metallic spacecraft 25 meters in diameter and in the sky over the village. He added the military jets in background may have been escorting. Yeah, but he's just guessing. Former government employees said in 2012 that an image was easily the most compelling UFO photo, and we don't get to see it. There should be mass matches. Someone's probably burnt them all by now. MOD said their records concerning UFOs has been transferred to the National Archives. Apart from that one photograph, I suppose. However, they are being kept classified for a number of reasons, including the fact that these files may include personal information relating to living members of the public. Who cares? 30 years on, they're probably dead or close to it. The hill walkers or anyone with information relating to the sighting can contact Straff at infostraff.co.uk. Be good to talk to him, wouldn't it? Perhaps I should reach out to him. And everybody's talked about the Pentagon stuff, which we'll probably go over now. But yeah, this case has sort of got me angry, really. So I'll just post that out on the side as well. But this guy would be definitely worth interviewing. In fact, why hasn't Martin Willis had him on? Or maybe he has. Might have a search. Small channel like mine, he wouldn't be interested in, but Martin Willis, he probably would be. What's his name? Straff. I don't even know if that's said right. Straff. Researcher. Calvine incident. Okay, so we missed that one last time, but yeah, it's worth recapping it a second time anyway. So we did get that gem of information there about this guy. So we've got to get in touch with him. So I might just leave that tab there. So the other thing was the Bristol Channel UAP. I might still leave that on the back burner, because that's going to take a wee bit of effort to analyse that, I think. And I still haven't found the original video apart from what we've got here. Whether I get time to find the original video, maybe someone out there has it, can email me. I'll post it on Discord if you remember. So first up, so where do we start? UAP report is here. Now, someone asked me on BitChute what I thought, so that was before the report came out, so maybe I should read out what I said. Let's see, how do we get to it? Have I got it here? Probably not. BitChute. Might have it here. Here we go. Yeah, so that's my BitChute channel. Need more people joining it though, and promoting it. I'll post it on the side. Paul's BitChute. It was getting about 100 subs a week at one time, and now it's sort of stopped. I think it's probably because Secureteam's back, and people like he's like a black hole. They get sucked in and don't bother looking at other UFO topics, other UFO channels, which is their loss because, as you know, Secureteam is not the most honest person in the world. In fact, he's probably the least honest person. Especially in ufology, where you want honest people and the truth, right? But anyway, best UFO videos according to Paul. Well, UFO incidents. The videos and photographs we can't see, but they're bound to be the best ones ever. But yeah, so probably on this one. So why would someone downvote that episode? It makes no sense to me. Or anyone would downvote something of great potential information being presented to them, so they may not even know about it. Everyone's stuck on the Pentagon stuff, and I did something different. Anyway, was it that one that someone asked, or was it the previous one? Because it was on Pentagon. I think it might be another one. Let's see, the previous one maybe. Let's see, was it this one? Yeah, I think so. Hi out there, I'm sorry for asking this, because after listening to you guys a few times, I'm still not sure if you guys believe in UFOs. Of course we do. This is why we do these things. And not that they don't need to be, but I do think a lot are just grifters, I think he means. Yeah, that's the problem with these frauds in ufology. And then no one looks at all the other channels which may be credible. But there's very few of them. There's only a handful of credible channels out there. But it seems to me, or I get the feeling, that you are generally skeptical of all sightings, correct? Welcome to the Out There Channel live stream 417. I said pause before. Took all that time to start up. I don't know what's going on with BitChute lately. Maybe that's why the subs have dropped off. Anyway, it's got more information here. Also, I'd like your opinion on the whole Tic Tac US Navy drops. Is it BS and disinformation? At least that's what Stephen Greer thinks. Finally, what do you think of Jack Ray's work? What are your thoughts? Thank you. Well, if you look at my theory, some of my theory fits in with Jack Ray's thoughts of portals. But these guys got it wrong. They're too much hung up on space-time and Einstein being correct. Einstein's not right on his space-time nonsense. That's what I call it. He was okay when he was working with Tesla, and then they both were bouncing stuff off each other. And then when Einstein dismissed Tesla, and probably later regretted it, Tesla discovered quite a significant information about gravity that Einstein didn't know about, unfortunately. And everybody was focused on Einstein after that point when he brought out his general relativity, and what Tesla had to say and found in his experiments was ignored, which is a damn shame. Because Tesla had the skills to replicate it and use it. And of course, the problem with Tesla's research, it got pretty much suppressed. Sure enough, he put patents in, and sure enough, he used the benefits of what he found out. And AC power and electric motors and antennas and all sorts of other things. He's sort of been written out of history, forgotten about. And then you got all these people claiming that he didn't invent it, someone else did. But here's the first one to put it into a patent office, which made it formalised, time-stamped. So even if the other one's beaten by a few hours, it doesn't matter shit. Two great minds can come up with the same solution, but is it this? Who's the better solution as well? Most of them might be similar though. So Jack Rayleigh had thoughts that aliens were through portals, through some form of dimension. Whether that was them using like a wormhole to jump from one location in the universe to another is yet to be seen. But because of the strangeness of everything, in my theory, I put in everything in it. I included Bigfoots, ghosts, paranormal, time slips, Bermuda Triangle, and it all fits as far as I can see. Proving it is another thing, though. So I said here, watch my last episode, which is on the Calvine. I think you have your answer. But if not, watch the playlist called Pools Encounters. Not sure if it's on BC. Actually, I'm not too sure. But it's on YouTube. There are playlists on BitChute there. But I can't see them, obviously, because I have to log in. And Greer has a mental problem, Asperger's, I think it's called. Only thing he did and beats me how hell is. Beats me. What was I trying to say there? Beats me hell. How he got military to add their stories to his database. So what Greer did is he set up a database and got Navy, Marines and all that to tell their stories about abductions they can't tell anybody about, and he'd keep it private in a research facility. And obviously Pentagon wanted to get their hands on that, so he got famous through that way, right? And he got invited along to the Pentagon, and he tried to set up disclosure thing. So he was a good organizer, and it was clever to set up a database, and somehow he managed to sweet talk the military people. So why they believed him, I don't know. But nowadays he's just a scam artist for money. However, the guy's a fraud. He's just using UFO field to line his pockets. He's faking things and using flares and balloons at his events to fool people. As for the Congress thing, I think nothing will come of it. That's what I said before it came out. Other than maybe Congress to fund more research and fund military. Research, right? There probably was a real leak and used Lou to start the seed going. So maybe there was sort of baiting Lou to quit and go and tell the public about it, because that's what they wanted. He may have been a pawn rather than the king of the information. So, unlike Doty, he was like the king of information. He knew exactly what he was doing. Lou might be like the carrier, patient zero, and not known that he was being used. That was my feeling. But it's hard to know. They could be on it. But I think when I saw them on TV and you saw their body reactions, and of course some of the investigations they were doing, they were clueless. They didn't have this basic understanding of camera artifacts and what they were seeing in footage, like skydivers with pyros on their feet or whatever, which is a bit disappointing. But they seemed genuine in that they wanted to know the answers themselves, right? It's probably, like working like Nick Poke had access and saw one of the photographs and wanted to know. He saw all the photographs, in fact, he said, and wanted to know what the hell it was. Was it us or them? And you'll never find out. And I said here, Nimitz has always been Altec with an advanced jump, or enemies, tech, or aliens. So it's three possibles all the time. It's always been that. They say, in our airspace is bad, you see, no one is safe. Unless they're protecting us from other bad aliens. You don't know, that's also guessing. Now they're saying aliens are... They are. Now they're not saying they're aliens. Great. Must have been late in the morning. Greer has said calling aliens all evil, it's nonsense, as they first have to confirm aliens are real. So you can't say they're evil. That means that you must know aliens are real in that case, right? So it contradicts logic. Then it's Russians or China that are the bad ones, because it's them, and some drone tech that can mess with ships and jets. So let's see what other people have to say about it. But that's what I said about it, even though it's got a few typos there. I might go back and edit it after the show. Me, I sit back and absorb things, and other people can't stop talking about it. So Tucker Carlson, and I'll get a drink. And I'm not sure if there's anything in that reacts to the unclassified government UFO reports. That was yesterday. I don't think anything's been added to it. Just sort of recaps. I'll just skim through it. Why can't we hear it though? Good question. Speak up, Tucker. That's weird. Never had the problem of sound plan. Okay, let me just check out some of these other ones. Maybe we have to restart it.
Errors, spoofing, or...
There you go. So we've got Mick West talking about it. He's quite happy about the reports. So we'll come to him. So why can't we hear Tucker? Let's see, reload maybe. He looks a bit surprised there. No. I'm sure it was making sound yesterday. I'll just reload again. Voice goes muted for some reason. Share. We've got closed captions. Does that work? Don't be silly. Nothing's working. Anyway, let's see. See, you can see he's going over things, but not actually talking about the report. So that might be the last minute where he's talking about it. Oh, right, up here, look. It's got muted. Oh, that's because he used background music, right? I must have turned that on.
Tell you, government investigators seem sincerely baffled by what these things are. Today's report analyzed 144 separate sightings of UFOs by the U.S. military. But in only a single case could the government explain what it was. In that case, it was a large deflating balloon. The rest, the other 143, remain a complete and total mystery. So the most sophisticated military in the world has no idea what these things are or even how they move from place to place. Some of these aircraft, the report says, quote, appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed, all without discernible means of propulsion. So we do know that no government in the world possesses anything like this. No technology like this exists that we know of. The Pentagon seems fairly certain these are not Russian and they're not Chinese. So what are they? The report doesn't say. It notes only the obvious. UFOs, quote, clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security, end quote.
That's it. It's got to be more than that, I think. Let's see what came out today. Fox News. It's always good to get Tucker's summary, you know. Fox News. That surely wasn't it yesterday, surely. Fox News UFOs. Can't explain, that's what we just saw, wasn't it? 1 day ago. Is that all we got? Politics, UFO officials, science, UFOs. Let's have a look there. Most sophisticated military in the world has no idea what UFOs are. When was that? 22 hours ago. Ex-Pentagon UFO experts say stigma and taboo may have led to underreporting of sightings. 1 day ago. So there's quite a lot coming off Fox News here. 1 day ago, UFO intelligence report cannot rule out aliens. Okay. And I think that's the one we just looked at. Captain reacts to unclassified government reports. 1 day ago. So all these come out 1 day ago. So can't rule out aliens. So we've got Jeremy Corbell. Oh, I don't want to see him. I don't like Corbell at all. Infamous Tic Tac UFO spotted by UFO. US Navy. UFOs not ruled out behind recent UFO sighting. So, is it worth playing any of those ones? Well, I don't know if it's that one. I'll have a look at that one. But it sounds like we just played that. Why is it not playing?
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight.
That's weird.
Human beings have been wondering about unexplained lights in the night sky since the first Neanderthal cooked an ostrich. May have been. It may in fact have been a weather balloon. But that was not the end of the story.
Same.
Over the past 75 years, the U.S. military has gathered...
Oh, we lost them now. Oh well, Fox News is no good. Tucker. As we go back, actually, we could look on his Twitter. Maybe they've got some newer links. Oh, this is useless. Forget that then. Yeah, just rubbish, not most of it. or about the corrupt politicians. Alright, well, let's just get onto the main guys then. Maybe Tucker's got a better report out there somewhere, but that one was pretty lousy. So let's carry on with Blackvault. He breaks it down pretty good, and you'll see the things I said. I need to get a drink, don't I? I'll just let it play. I've got to get a drink. My throat's gone.
And training or other military activity. Report is here, and I'll go over just some of the key points about it, because that report, all whopping 9 pages of it, is the subject of this quick blast. Stay tuned.
It was pathetic.
That's right, the UFO UAP report is here. Now, I was debating on whether or not I was going to do this video, and I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and throw something out, quickly update you guys. I'm not going to go over every single aspect of the report, but I am going to point out a few things. I know some of you, and I'm surprised because I thought everybody used social media, but doesn't use social media like Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that, that you primarily just watch YouTube and those types of videos. So I thought, you know what, let's get this video out there and update you guys that the report is here. Fantastic. So let's get into it, because I do believe that, well, you might be a little let down if you had high hopes. Now, if you did see my video about this, if you saw what essentially was kind of a more little speculation and stuff like that on my part, but also juxtaposing that with history, the question mark was, what were we going to get? And I truly thought that we weren't going to get much, and we didn't. But what really surprised me was the fact that we didn't get really anything at all. Yes, there are 9 pages, but I thought it would be a little bit lengthier. And what I wanted to see, and bear with me here because you might get...
Me too. I thought it was going to be quite lengthy, like 100 pages. All that money they spent and come up with 9 pages. When you look at stuff they get you to do in university, that's like just one thing, you know. One thing you have to go and research and put together for like 5% of a year's worth of credits or something. And I was expecting them to at least cover some of the main UFO cases that have been in the media lately. That's what I expected. So the Nimitz case. What was their solution to it? Even if it's classified, they still could tell you that they could say it was the Russians, Chinese, or unknown, but not aliens or whatever. But yeah, it's a bit like that Calvine report, right? It's got to be something there, and they're just not telling you. What was some of the other cases? The triangle one from Corbell could have been explained. Whether it was UAVs, drones, ours, Coast Guard or whatever. What would be another one to look at that was sort of made the rounds? That one with the thing over the water where they claim it went into the sea. And that radar data that made no sense. Because they're claiming it to be a drone swarm when it clearly wasn't. So, yeah. I wonder if the Congress are happy with it. Maybe they wanted explanation on those ones that they've been watching on TV too. Yeah, we'll just carry on.
Mad at me for saying this, is I wanted to see debunking on a small level, because it would show us that they actually are researching, investigating, and can solve some of this leaked material that has come out that they...
Amen. He just said what I said. But the key thing he said there was to prove they are taking it seriously and investigating these things and the process they go through. And we don't know. And still don't know.
Admitted was real, admitted that that it was taken by U.S. Navy pilots, but they would not put a designation on it. They said it was even being utilized by the task force that created this report that you're about to go over with me. Yet, they wouldn't say if it was unidentified or not. And I'll be the first to say, I thought that was part of the plan. I thought that meant that they were going to take that material and say, you know what? Senator Rubio and your committee, we can identify this. The media grabbed a hold of it, made a big thing out of it, but there are some other ones that we can't identify. But essentially, it would have shown us they are doing their job. Mm-hmm. In reality, we heard about no specific cases whatsoever. It was this broad overview, and as you can see from the cover page here, preliminary assessment, unidentified aerial phenomena with today's date. This was the cover page. So that in itself, at first glance, was a letdown to me, because I truly felt that we would get some type of admission to cases, solved or not. But I thought that they would go into detail, and they really did not. They kept it very, very, very broad, and that would be my initial reaction to it. I've read through it a couple times, but obviously this is very new to me. We're going to go over it a little bit together. But it's one of those things you do need to read a couple of times. I'm not going to read it, like I said, word for word. This is page 1 with the scope and assumptions. What I do want to point out about this would be this paragraph here. ODNI, which is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, prepared this report for the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. UAPTF and the ODNI National Intelligence Manager for Aviation drafted this report with input from USD INS, DIA, FBI, NRO, NGA, NSA, Air Force, Army, Navy, Navy/ONI or Office of Naval Intelligence, DARPA, FAA, NOAA, NGA, ODNI/NIM, Emerging and Disruptive Technology, ODNI National Counterintelligence and Security Center, and ODNI National Intelligence Council. Say that 3 times fast, but that is one heck of an alphabet soup that contributed, or allegedly contributed, to this report. 9 pages doesn't seem like it culminated information from all of those agencies and components, but be that as it may, I at least wanted to point that out to you.
And there wouldn't happen to be 12 of them, would there? Majestic 12. Let's see. How many there? With input from... let's see if we can get in better. I've actually got a link to the report if you want it on Discord. Join my Discord. You can download and read it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. NSA 6. Army 7, 8. Navy 9, 10. DARPA's there. 11, 12, 13, 14. Disruptive technology. 15, 16, 17, 18. So, down there. Got and clicked, haven't I? Damn it.
Also on page 1, the assumption.
So, I don't think it's Majestic 18. But we'll just carry on with what he's going to say here.
Various forms of sensors that register UAP generally operate correctly and capture enough real data to allow initial assessments. But some UAP may be attributable to sensor anomalies. It's a little disconcerting that they say the equipment or sensors generally operate correctly. I would hope that they would always operate correctly, but that will probably be a video.
He's absolutely correct there. You think there also would be like a duplicate system that's also processing it, maybe on a second ship or a second airfield. So you got almost like double up of the data. So if there's an anomaly in both retrievals, then you know one of the systems out. But then you would need like a third system. So you really need three systems. So if it's a bit like a quantum computer in that sense, where it gets multiple answers and not always the first one's the correct answer. Sometimes it's the second answer. So you have to run it several times until the most first answer is repeated as the correct answer. We've talked about quantum computing before. You can go and watch an episode on it. But yeah, I'd have to have a try system. So if two check out where one doesn't, that means the third one's either got to be wrong. We know things break down all the time, but you'd expect a backup to be slipped straight into place. So yeah, you'd think there'd be duplicate system in here. Something's not quite right there from my thinking. You always build in redundancy. How would you do it though? I suppose you could have even the same system, right? You could have a switch where if you don't believe what you're seeing on the scope, then you flip the switch and goes through a different circuit and see if it's still there. I suppose that would be one way to prove it. And you could do that solid state wise and instantly using the same radar. But then they would say maybe it's the radar itself, the transmitting the radio beam. So you still need a second or third system. But anyway, thinking out loud there, let's carry on.
Video for another day. The next page gives us what we always look for. We, as in investigators, researchers, essentially the executive summaries are key to understanding a lot of what big government reports have. The downside to this UAP report is it's really not big at all, so it really wouldn't matter if they had an executive summary or not. But regardless, the first information page, we'll call it, is just that. So this summarizes their findings. This essentially takes, well, not in this case, but a 200-page report, 500-page report, condenses it down to a couple of pages. In this particular case, the report itself is obviously even less than 9 pages. That was the total, but it condensed it into a page. So let's go over some of the key facts that they wanted in the executive summary. The limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, from a historical perspective, I laughed when I read that the first time because that is absolutely Project Blue Book. That's exactly what they said. They tried to say a lot about the 701. We know now that that's a much bigger number, but the 701 unknowns in the Project Blue Book collection, they essentially said that they felt a lot of that was due to essentially lack of quality of evidence, lack of essentially detail. So right off the bat, they're blaming, taking a page from the Project Blue Book era and blaming the fact that they just didn't have enough data, even though that they've been collecting it for some time.
Yeah.
Here's another quote from the report. As a result, the UAPTF, when I say that, it's UAP Task Force, for those who aren't aware, concentrated its review on reports that occurred between 2004 and 2021, the majority of which are a result of this new tailored process to better capture UAP events through formalized reporting. Most of the UAP reporting probably do represent physical objects, given that a majority of UAP were registered across multiple sensors, to include radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. Essentially, what they're saying here is as technology advanced, they had better capability They also had, in turn, better capability to see or at least capture some type of visual imagery with this UAP phenomena, whatever it is. It allowed them to essentially do that.
That's a joke.
Another point that they put in a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. These observations could be the result of sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misperception and require additional rigorous analysis. So this started off interesting.
That reminds me of the 1978 UFO called Cora Lights, where they had radar hits, and the first thing the experts said was it was a spoof signal, a ghost signal. And yet they clearly saw it with their eyes and camera. So they knew something was there. But then they tried to write that off as planet Venus and squid boat lights.
Interesting. So they were exhibiting unusual flight characteristics, and they immediately shoot it down, pardon the pun, blaming potential sensor errors, spoofing, or the observer or the witness themselves. There are probably multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations based on the range of appearances and behaviors described in the available reporting. Well, this is kind of a, word mash where that's kind of a given. Not all UAPs are going to have one explanation. We know that. So they're just kind of fluffing this up, in my opinion. Yeah. UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. Absolutely. There's the threat word. Yet that's something I've never shied away from. History proves it. Documentation proves it. Evidence proves it. Witnesses prove it. There is a potential threat behind whatever this phenomena is, and they're drilling that in this report. Not a big surprise, because that, more than all else, will get the attention of the Senate Intel Committee, Armed Services Committee, and beyond. Consistent consolidation of reports from across the federal government, standardized reporting, increased collection and analysis, and a streamlined process for screening all such reports against a broad range of relevant United States government data will allow for some more sophisticated analysis of UAP that is likely to deepen our understanding. What are they saying here? Give us more money, we'll figure it out. And that therein lies what I have felt is truly underlying all of this, is to get additional funding and resources.
And that's what I said in that other comment, wasn't it? I just want to check the audio. Yep. Okay, still working all good. So he's replicating what I said. Basically, I said the saying that it's all going to be used, this report, to try and get additional funding. So we got a threat, and we need more money to study it to be able to get the answers to you. It's fairly obvious that was going to come out.
I am not saying that is a bad thing, but what I am saying is that this up here justifies this down here. For those listening to the audio version, this up here is the potential threat. This down here is give us money and resources and we'll figure it out. And I think that truly is the root of a lot of this, I would say, talk about that potential threat. Again, I don't disagree with it. I don't think it's a bad thing. Some people are using that as they're just wasting money on military spending. No, on the contrary, I support it. But if this is what had to happen to get them to look at unidentified objects and UFOs, UAPs, whatever, then that's, I think, a win. That even though, and I'll say it right now after I went through the executive summary, even though this is only a 9-page document, that we didn't get case files, we didn't get visuals, we didn't get photos, links to videos, evidence, addendums, nothing. Even though we didn't get that, this is something that actually is beneficial, because there's no way around them saying, you know what? The UAP phenomena, it's a waste of time. Let's not even focus on it. On the contrary, this is supporting that they should focus on it, even though if they're taking from the pages of Project Blue Book and the Condon Report and so on, saying, well, we could probably explain most of it. earthly explanations, all that jazz. We just need more money and resources to do it. So I consider this a baby step.
Yeah, so is there anything else he's going to talk about that we really need to hear from him? And he goes on for another 34 minutes. Of course, everybody's going to talk about the same thing today, I suppose. If not yesterday. And probably for months to come after.
Of available reporting largely inconclusive, limited.
Let's just come through.
It's going to remain classified. But I want to read you guys something, because this is what was really interesting about that message. Now, in short, that message was essentially showing the guidelines, or at least pointing to the guidelines, for the U.S. Navy and how to report UAP. It was instructing all of those that saw UAP to report them, and then again, either had or pointed to the guidelines for reporting them. In the process of researching this story, I discovered this. Although the original headline of Politico, and I'm reading my own writing here, so let me start that over. Although the original headline of Politico insinuated that the UFO guidelines were, quote, new, subsequent statements released later in May by U.S. Navy Public Affairs Officer Joseph Gradisher to the New York Times said they were not. Mr. Gradisher explained that the guidelines were an update to an older 2015 directive in response to multiple UFO encounters around the USS Theodore Roosevelt in 2014 and 2015. He told the New York Times that although some of the objects could have been commercial drones, Mr. Gradisher also added, "We don't know who's doing this. We don't have enough data to track this." So the intent of the message to the fleet is to provide updated guidance on reporting procedures for suspected intrusions into our airspace. So this shows that the guidelines were already in existence in 2015. Based on the 2014 and 2015 encounters. Let me go back to that report that we've been going over. They said that they didn't have a reporting mechanism until March of 2019. I personally don't think that that is correct, based on the fact that that was just a reissuance of guidance that was already issued. Those guidelines had been around, per the U.S. Navy, for at least 4 years prior to this date here. So that's an extra 4 years worth of data that they could have potentially been collecting. Now, maybe they didn't adhere to it, which is why they reissued it, and I get that. But regardless, for them to essentially say that in the report, I'm not trying to nitpick here. I'm just saying there's potential 4 years worth of some type of data, even if not everybody was following it, that could potentially be there. Yet they said that it wasn't until 2019, just 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when they had it. My opinion, that's wrong. Is that a mistake? Quite possibly. Am I mistaken? Oh, it's based on U.S. Navy official statements that they said 2015. But who knows? Maybe that they issued the guidelines and not a single person ever followed them or read them. That's a possibility too. I won't rule that out. Jumping along here into the report, here is the number that of reports that they analyzed. This was a number that I think the New York Times said something to the effect of 210.
Be good to see the full list.
Here is the number. 144 reports originated from U.S. government sources. 80 reports involved observation with multiple sensors. Most reports described UAP as objects that interrupted pre-planned training or other military activity. To me, that's pretty interesting. I think that's part of the story here that'll probably be a tidbit in the future. Why is it always around training missions and essentially military activity? That is, I guess, open to interpretation. But obviously the incidents that we have heard about away from this UAP report, but the Nimitz encounter, they were doing a training mission. They had new radar and instrumentation that they were testing. Same with the 2014-15 Roosevelt encounters. They were out there with new equipment on essentially training missions out there. So is that some type of common trait? Is there a reason for that, or is that potentially just a coincidence? I'll let you guys decide that. I'm not going to say either way because I don't know. But it is kind of interesting that seems to be a thread here. I'm going to jump up because I want to read this paragraph to you as well. After carefully considering this information, the UAPTF focused on reports that involved UAP largely witnessed firsthand by military aviators and that were collected from systems we considered to be reliable. These reports describe incidents that occurred between 2004 and 2021, with the majority coming in the last 2 years as the new reporting mechanism became better known to the military aviation community.
Forget all the past
We were able
50
to
years.
identify one reported UAP with high confidence. In that case, we identified the object as a large deflating balloon. The others remain unexplained. The first thing that came to my mind on that with the deflating balloon was the USS Omaha footage that looked like a sphere slowly descending, hitting the water and potentially either, popping or just getting lost in a wave, popping then and so on and so forth, because it seems like it gets lost, comes back, gets lost again. Mick West, I think, I'm not speaking for him, one of the last videos, I think one of his last, he was kind of looking at maybe a flare of some kind, and the sphere looking was part of the glare. I don't know. I'm not an analyst, so I'm not going to pretend I know.
No, Mick's not
but
right.
it was very interesting for them to essentially bring in one case that we have no idea what it is that they were able to identify. What that was at this point is kind of a mystery. I saw some people thinking, was this the Batman balloon? I doubt it.
Why is he still talking about the Batman?
Balloon to me, but who knows? A balloon. It did look like a balloon. Sorry to upset anybody with that, but a deflating one.
I really hate the
But the Omaha footage, potentially that was something that could have been.
These UFO channels, they keep repeating the same bullshit between each other. Why can't they look at my stuff and say, oh yeah, Paul's right? Anyway, I think we've probably heard enough of John there. But there was a couple of interesting things there. Like I said, you're best to get the report yourself and have a read of it. Blackvault, if you want to go and listen to the rest of it, I'll post it on the side there. And we'll have a look, quick listen to what Mick's got to say. He's got these all grins. It looks like he's got makeup on there. I reckon he has, Just reload. See, look, it looks like he's got makeup on. Come on, tell me he hasn't got makeup on. It's not the best quality picture, though. A lot of these TV people, it looks a bit better further away, actually, because it's such low quality. Spud cam photograph, thumbnail. How do we get it to smaller?
They appeared to exhibit a new.
Let's just start from the beginning. He's going to be all smirks, isn't he, today? 100 downvotes there. I bet he's deleted some of the good comments. Anyway, I won't read them.
Was going to be things that are unidentified. There are things like birds and balloons that are going to show up on sensors, and we should.
That's not the beginning.
We should try to figure out what these things.
Yeah, let's just go back to beginning. Come on.
So the big report is finally here. The preliminary assessment of the unidentified aerial phenomenon, Office of the Director of National Intelligence, unclassified report. 25th of June, 2021. I've looked at the report, gone through it a couple of times, but what I want to do now is go through it again and kind of give my take on it. Now, long story short, I'm fairly happy with the report. I think it kind of more or less says what I've been saying for a long time, that there's a bunch of different things, we don't have enough information, there's always going to be things that are unidentified, there are things like birds and balloons that are going to show up on sensors, and we should try to figure out what these things are. And, no evidence of aliens, no great evidence of amazing technology. But not everyone agrees with that assessment, so what I want to do is go through the report and try to explain what I see in the report and what justifies that assessment. Okay. So, page 2, scope and assumptions. This basically tells us like who does the report and where they got all the information from. The only important thing on this page really is this assumption at the end. It says, various forms of sensors that register UAP generally operate correctly and capture enough real data to allow initial assessments. But some UAP may be attributable to sensor anomalies. Basically, that means that most of the time the radar works and the ATFLIR system works, but sometimes it does not. And when it does not, that may create a report of a UAP. Next page. Page 3, the executive summary. Now, this is going to be the important page. It has all the most important information and conclusions. And some of the later stuff, even though it should be more detailed, actually omits some of the stuff that was listed here. So you really need to refer to this page whenever you look at something that comes later in the report. Okay, executive summary. The limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. So they're basically saying they don't have enough information to know what the nature of the problem is, or if the UAP means something. I'm not sure what that really means, like aliens meaning something. Okay, the UAP task force considered a range of information on UAP described in US military and intelligence community reporting, but because the reporting lacked sufficient specificity, ultimately recognized that a unique tailored reporting process was required to provide sufficient data for analysis of UAP events. As a result, the UAPTF concentrated its review on reports that occurred between 2004 and 2021, which is basically meaning they started with the Nimitz encounter and went up to the present day. The majority of which are the result of this new tailored process to better capture UAP events through formalized reporting, which is good. That means that the majority of the reports here are actually...
So what the hell was Blue Book then, if it wasn't a formalized process of collecting data and analysing it? So they're saying it's a new system. Yes, using computers now. Instead of paper folders. So they, sort of makes it sort of reset, the great reset. Reset the UFO stuff to say we didn't know in the past, but we know now. But obviously they're not going to tell us still, so there must be another great reset coming. Oh, the new reporting system took 20 years, but we finally figured it out, maybe. So maybe we might still be alive when we find out what next things they're going to do. But like they're saying here, it's not over yet. This is far from over. This is not conclusive of the end of UFOs and aliens. It's really still looking like they're saying it's the beginning and they need more funds. That's how I'm reading it.
Quite high quality, where they've standardized how the reports were taken. Now, this is an interesting point. Most of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects, given that a majority of UAP were registered across multiple sensors to include radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observations. Now, this most of the UAP reported actually is 80. It's 80 out of 144, which is 56%, which is a bit more than half. So I think saying most of is perhaps a bit of an exaggeration, because that means that a bit less than half of them were not registered across multiple sensors. They were just registered on one sensor, or they were just an eyewitness account. So we could perhaps say that more than half of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects. Now, again, in a very important paragraph here, in a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. Now, that's, the money there, and that's, are these alien spaceships or advanced technology from other countries? They continue, these observations could be the result of sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misperceptions and
Cancel
require
out.
additional rigorous analysis. So basically they're saying that there are situations that seem to be amazing, but they can't tell if they actually are. They can't tell if they are, in fact, sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misperceptions. Now, compare that to the previous paragraph, where most of them actually represent physical objects because they were on multiple sensors. I think it's pretty clear that these ones that they're talking about, the UAP that reportedly appear to exhibit unusual flight characteristics, are not included in those probably physical objects, because if they were registered on multiple sensors, that would prove pretty much without the shadow of a doubt that they were in fact exhibiting unusual flight characteristics. So it seems fairly likely that this paragraph refers to things that were essentially single sensor or single eyewitness accounts reports. It's not entirely clear, but it would seem to be that way for if you combine the information in these two paragraphs. There are probably multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations based on the range of appearances and behaviors described in the available reporting. Well, yes. This is true, and this is something I've been saying for months, if not years, and that we don't just have one thing. We don't just have UAPs. What are they? We have, here's a UAP report, here's a different one, here's another one, here's another one. There could be all kinds of different explanations. And they've categorized them into five broad categories, 5 potential explanatory categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, US development programs, foreign adversary systems, and a catch-all other bin. UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to US national security. And that's obviously something that's very important, and hence we need to look into what these UAP actually are, these various different UAP. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain, which really is the first of the 5 categories, the airborne clutter. UAPs would also represent a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms. Those are spy things. I mean, they're really talking about spy drones there, for example, or balloons. Or provide evidence a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology. Let's see if they do actually, in fact, demonstrate unusual flight characteristics, which we can't say for sure because we don't have enough sensor data. And then they talk about consolidation of reports across the government, standardized reporting, etc. would be better. And some of these steps are resource intensive and would require additional investment. So that's just a call for more money for the UAP task force, which may well be justified, but that's what that paragraph is about. Needs more data, might need more money. Next page.
More money too.
Available reporting largely inconclusive. Limited data leaves most UAP unexplained. There's the thing. We don't know what we're looking at. We've got inconsistent data, we've got limited data, and this is a problem. There's no standard reporting methods, lots of anecdotes. They focused on the more recent ones, the majority coming in the last 2 years, which is great because, again, these are better quality ones. They're not simply the ones that are limited by the previous reporting process. We were able to identify 1 reported UAP with high confidence. Well, that's rather a low number of solved cases. But again, the reason that UAPs are UAPs is that we don't have enough information. And it's quite often difficult to get more information. So it's not surprising that if something is unidentified once, it stays unidentified. The videos that I've looked at, I've not identified what the things are. I've just identified various characteristics of them that aren't exactly what people say. The gimbal not actually rotating, the go fast video not actually going fast, the triangle not actually being a triangle, that type of
not
thing.
actually
but
being
it doesn't
cold.
identify them. So they're still unidentified. Okay, in one case we identified the object as a large deflating balloon. I don't know what that is. It could be the go fast if it's like a slowly leaking balloon.
That's the last one.
It will eventually achieve neutral buoyancy, and that will mean it will stay at a certain altitude for a period of time, just slowly drip down as it continues to leak. So that could be one of the cases, the Go Fast. It could actually be the Omaha sphere that was descending into the water, but that doesn't really look like a balloon. But it would be nice to know which case they were actually talking about. The others remain unexplained. 144 reports originated from the US government sources. Of these, 80 reports involved...
He knows, because I said it was a balloon. And he's not going to back down from it. He's got to be correct. It's a distant flare.
Observations with multiple sensors. So that's, again, 56%, 80 out of 144, which means that 64 of them do not. 64 of them were, in fact, just observations from either one sensor or one eyewitness.
So why make the report ambiguous? Why not just say which the case was, and have an image of it, and then you know exactly which one they're talking about. He wants the Go Fast one to be a balloon, because he said it was a balloon, but he called it a seagull to start with, right? And then he changed his mind. But a lot of people think the Go Fast one is possibly a drone. So who knows whether it's a military drone or commercial drone. Who knows? It might be someone flying it over a beach. Just flying it a few miles out from the beach and then flying it back home. And then was probably trying to lock it on just for practice, maybe. Who knows? It looked far too small to be a real alien UFO craft anyway. That particular one. The Go Fast one. So do we bother listening to more of Mick here? He kind of looks psyched out there, doesn't he? He makes me laugh. His serious look. The scary look. He looks like a serial killer. Sorry, Mick, but you're just so funny. He'll probably be laughing too anyway, but yeah. I don't know why everybody hates Mick though. I think he means to do well, and he knows there's so many people being sucked down the rabbit holes with Secureteam and Third Phase. Like I are trying to save some from themselves. But there are obviously real UFOs out there, and this report quite suggests it. But not calling it aliens. And they're just running off as sensor errors. So, yeah, if you want to have more laugh on that one, we've got a few more things to cover, so I'll just post a link on the side there. And that was the clip for fair use anyway. With UAP report. Now, I suppose he might be happy because he's going to win a dinner from UFO Jesus, isn't it? A steak dinner or something. I bet disclosure would happen. That UFO Jesus hasn't got a clue. But he's also funny. You gotta like the guys. Even if you hate them, you can't help but to laugh at them. And that's comes right under Third Phase of the Moon. The more to laugh at, not laugh with, but laugh at, because they make you laugh. They're like crazy UFO guys that are not actually UFO guys, but they're just trying to get sucker in, grifter for your money. It would be good if they were classed themselves as UFO tools or clowns. And they were doing it for a laugh, and people watched them for a laugh, but still watching the UFO footage, and even though it's not classed as real, then they would get away with it, right? And people wouldn't take them seriously then. But they'll probably make a lot more money from it. Because then they would have the respect of being comedians rather than trying to be serious UFO people, which they're not, and making up fakes and stuff. Someone will probably do a comedy channel. But then have UFO people got sense of humour? Maybe it's only me that sees them as funny, I don't know. So, yes, yeah, we got also Mr. Cuvit having a go at the TheOutThereChannel. But it was actually quite good. What else we got? Emery Smith, former fiance, says he is a fraud and a liar, part 2. So that'll probably be a bit funny, going over some of that. And then we got Finn here. Does Mick West's Tic Tac illusion even work? I challenge him to make a reconstruction. I don't think Mick would really care too much, really. So I did actually post something here, but I don't think it shows up. Because I think I've been banned, but because I'm logged in here, aren't I? Here. I've got one that's not logged in. I think I may have been banned, which is a shame because he won't see my comment. Because you know, even if I hate someone or dislike someone, I still give a honest opinion, right? And sometimes I support what they say, even, and they should have a listen to what I had to say. But anyway, let's see. Is it logged in here? Is it still logged in as me? Oh, yeah, it is. What if I log out here? Sign out. There we go. I might have to log back in later. Paste and go. And this is how you check to see if your comment is still visible publicly, and you can see suddenly it's gone. The reason that Google does that is so you don't keep posting millions of comments and filling up their database. So they don't tell you you've been blocked. It's kind of stupid. Another way they could do it is pop up a message as soon as you hit submit saying you're blocked, and it won't fill up their database either. So it's kind of devious, you know. But yeah, it looks like Finn has blocked me for his own biased reasons. Everybody hates Paul. But what I said here, angle theory is correct. Muck is not always right. It should be Mick. I should be able to edit that though. But what's it matter? They can't see it anyway. Muck. Because none of the right, since it's near the sea, he knows it's, or he being a David Fravor. I should correct that too. Let's see, he, Fravor. Knows it's between his altitude and sea level. So we'll go over his video in a minute to see what I mean. We also don't know if their radar or pods has radar information for calculating the distance away, right? Also depends on the light of the day and background, how easy it is to spot. So would you spot a big foaming mass in the water from a jet? If you're trained, you would expect to, because you're meant to be looking out for submarines, right? Why has that gone down? Alright, that's alright. Yeah, so do we really believe that David Fravor couldn't see a Tic Tac from his altitude and work out the rough size of it? Like he said, it was an airplane size, didn't he? I would probably trust him to be correct. He is a fighter pilot, and he's probably looked down at submarines as well as planes close to the sea level. Yeah, Finn makes a mistake. He talks about meters and playing the Tic Tac 40 meters, which is way too big. Makes it easier to see if it's 40 meters. It makes it harder to see, but not impossible. I think also they saw a large sea bubbling. So you'd see like a huge swell in the water, right? So then you'd focus on the smaller object better, I would say. That's basically what I'm trying to say there. But basically what Finn said here is correct, and Mick is, again, making assumptions. So I'll just play this.
So I think there are a couple of really important points that need to be made about Mick's
not all of
theory,
it, but just some of it.
Concerning what he thinks Fravor saw and how he thinks this illusion could have taken place, where Fravor misjudged the size of the object he was looking at. So he thought it was 40 meters long and so far away. In fact, it was 20 meters long and half the distance away that he thought. I still can't work out in my head how that explains the maneuver where it suddenly shoots off into the haze at that speed. But let's put that aside for a minute. Just the illusion, the perspective.
Finn is obviously using analog headphones here, and he's getting a hum, a ground loop hum. You don't normally get it with USB digital headsets. I'd be very surprised if he's got a USB headset. Anyway.
Perspective illusion, where Fravor is misjudging the size of the Tic Tac.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, with the Rolodex of all of the things in his head, like, how can he confuse a targeting balloon with something that's moving at what he describes as, immense breakneck speeds?
So what I'm suggesting is that it was a featureless object. Where he couldn't recognize what it was. If you got something that's featureless, now you know exactly how big this is because my hand is holding it. But if it's just hovering in midair, how would you be able to tell how big it was if you didn't know where it was? Like, here it's this size, and there is this size, and back here is tiny.
Yeah, but
so Mick, the way Mick explains it is legitimate from this perspective. If we're looking directly at this object like this.
Well, actually,
and we take Mick's hand away, and we
can work out the size of the room and how close to the camera it is, and we can still estimate it could be a couple of meters big to maybe a couple of centimeters big, right? So it still applies. We're still looking at straight that way. So how much of the size variance difference are we talking about? So also it might be something else in the picture that you can compare it to. Like his hand there is like a reference point. Was there something in a bubbling sea that they had as a reference point to the size of the Tic Tac? Has anyone actually asked Fravor? Anyway, just carry on.
We take Mick away, it becomes much harder to work out, if we don't know what size the object is, how far away or how close it is. The problem with before I talk about the problem with that, let's look at Mick's parallax illusion video.
This is another example of a flying UFO effect from something that isn't actually moving. All that's happening here is I am walking along and I'm pointing the camera towards this white ball which I've suspended from some wire from a tree. Here's a wider view, and you can see when I zoom in, the effect of it moving fast over a background is greatly increased. This is the original shot, where there's even less of an illusion, and here it is without the image stabilization, and you can see it doesn't look like it's moving at all, really. Here's the setup. There's a deer in the background.
So it's a fascinating illusion. It looks its best here.
Yeah.
The more you zoom in,
so it
the
just
more the
proves
illusion
it
works.
depends on the background how easy it is to see, right? Whether it stands out. Would a white Tic Tac stand out against a blue sea or grey sea? But if that goes over the tree where it's whiter, same as the Tic Tac, if it goes over a frothy sea, it would be really hard to see. But you'd see the frothy sea, wouldn't you? Could he tell the size of the waves when he left the boat? Then looking down on the waves, how big the waves were, and compare it to the waves? It's possible. So that's why I need to ask Fravor.
But this isn't how Fravor is looking at something. Fravor is looking at something with the human eye. He's not looking through a camera lens, and he's not zooming in with a camera lens like we do in this video. So Fravor's perspective is going to be closer to something like this.
This is the original shot,
which you can hardly see, right? It's there at the moment.
Even less of an illusion. And here,
so where is it now? Next to that tree branch. But see how hard it is to see now? It's very hard to see. Would you see that? So something else been going on.
Where, you know, as Mick says, there's less of an illusion. But I think even more important than that, if this ball was hanging actually much lower to the floor, then I suggest there would be no illusion whatsoever at this point. And that's still looking through a camera lens. If we were
well, that's true, because it's changing the background to be constant one colour, right? So it's more likely that you will see it rather than with the trees here. So the same with the sea. Green, blue sea. Be more likely to see it with the eyes.
Actually Mick and just walking past here and the ball was hanging lower to the floor, or let's put a pond there instead, or a swimming pool, and the ball was hanging low to the swimming pool, the illusion wouldn't work at all. When Mick's talking about parallax, let's take a look here in Blender.
That's right, because you know the swimming pool is static and the ball's above it all the time. You know the ball's not moving, so the illusion wouldn't work, right? Sort of do with magic. And Finn's meant to be a magician, so he would know that too. But yeah, definitely if it was over something, like a ship, you know it wasn't moving, even if you're moving yourself.
In this 3D app, I've set up a Tic Tac that's 40 meters long. But can we tell that it's 40 meters long? And if I move...
so 40 meters is incorrect information. It should be 40 feet, but it doesn't matter. It still doesn't change the argument. But it might make it a wee bit less visible, but still.
Like this, it could be a Tic Tac that's actually right in front of us and it's only an inch long. How do we know it's not a mile away and a mothership that's a mile long, or something like that.
Yeah.
He's right. It's hard to tell. And am I moving the camera or am I moving the Tic Tac? Because the sun is so far away and the stars are so far away, it's the same illusion. We can't tell. But this isn't the angle that Fravor was looking at the Tic Tac, and here's where I'd like Mick to explain in a bit more detail. Ideally, get a reconstruction made showing.
So that's what I'm saying. It's closer to the sea level, so he may use the wave height that day as a reference point. Or maybe a ship in the distance, or something. You'd have to explain it. Maybe it was even near an island, I don't know. But yeah, once it gets closer to the water, probably even cast a shadow. So maybe the shadow. It's just get you thinking that Mick's ruling out things too much.
Really displaying this illusion for us, because I feel like this is what Fravor is explaining, something much more like this, and he's approaching it, and it's dancing around. So let's say this is, it's zigzagging around above this patch of white water, and Fravor is coming past it. But the patch of white water actually helps us to
focus,
to triangulate it and estimate its size. And it's not against no background. We have the sea and we have this patch. So I feel like this illusion just doesn't happen the way Mick thinks it is, or at least not if we are actually taking Fravor's testimony seriously and we are seeing a patch of white water and the Tic Tac was moving around above it. This kind of cancels out the chance for that illusion to happen. As far as I can see, as far as I can tell. Because when you're talking about an illusion, illusions are illusory, right? But best off to the eye. When you're trying to explain an illusion, as I know from having practiced magic.
Alright, so he's doing a bit of practice on magic. So I think he makes a good point. And again, I think Fravor needs to be asked as well. Harry knew it was that big. Did he compare it to waves? Some cloud that he passed by, maybe? Some shadow? Finn vs. Mick. There we go. So, yeah, let's see. I'll probably going to have to wrap up soon. Again, time's just flying past. So, we got the sea level. Okay. Pen. Blue. You got the waves, right. And you got the plane. For bling. Which one was the plane again? Bit hard to see at times. Is that the plane? Okay. So if Fravor's flying is jet parallel, but banking and looking down. So if he's looking down on a banking view, damn, hasn't it changing? There we go. And he sees the Tic Tac. Now we're going for Tic Tac. Need a cylinder, really. That's a cylinder. Tic Tac, we can't do a white one, so let's do a grey one. That'll do. I already know how big it is. If it was up here horizontally to infinity, he wouldn't know. And whether it's side on, front on, because you got no closeness to something. Right here, it's got closeness to the sea. But my question is, did they have something on the radar? My question would be, did they have some, maybe it's top secret and they can't say. Maybe he can't say. Radar, solid color. Does that do it? Ooh, can't see it. Zigzag. Does that do it? If it did, I'm not seeing a zigzag. Where's zigzag? Oh yeah, it's sort of zigzag. That's a pattern. Shame we can't do a zigzag line. Alright, so if he's got radar coming down here and bounces back anyway. So as it hits the front of that, sending it back to his camera pod going back the other way. It may tell him how big it was when he flew over it. See what I mean? So did he have some radar data that we don't know about? And the other thing would be, did he see a shadow? Oh. Casting on it, and I think it was overcast, wasn't it? Maybe it was fairly overcast, so there was no sun, so there wouldn't be really much of a shadow, would there? So I think the shadow would have to be ruled out. But certainly, would the radar know the wave height? Or would the ship, you know, have we got a ship on this? Ship, aircraft carrier. We'd be lucky. Pyramids. I got a bus, we could use a bus. So if he's got a aircraft carrier relaying information back to them, like wave height. Oh. That will make sense. Why is it not changing? Anyway, you get to know what I mean anyway. So really, Fravor needs to be asked more questions on that. Maybe he has. Maybe we've forgotten the interviews. Someone out there might know. Would he know if he was a fighter pilot, a bus on the road? Now you got the reference to the road, and you know how wide the road is. You would know a bus was going along the road opposed to a car, wouldn't you? So is there some sort of skill set where you know the width of water compared to an object near it? Now, if you know the wave height, and you know it's not bobbing up and down, it's got to be radar information, surely. Because if you've been bounce a beam down, you should be able to measure it, a bit like the sonar, right? As you fly over it. So this just plug that into. It's not going to let me in, does it? Do not save. Okay. I was going to keep it for fun now, but it doesn't matter now. It's gone. And the finger hits. A paper cut. Worst kind. And the skin's peeling off it. Let's see. What was I going to look at? So fins on we're sort of finished with. And then he made a correction about the size of it. Anyway. That funny thing. I should really talk about that, and I should talk about his. Maybe I should keep that for another one. Just before I start another one. I might leave QVid's one for the next one. A couple of days time anyway. And I'll keep that for the next time too. I'll wrap up now. But we want to find out can pilots figure out size of ship, because you don't know how long a ship is either, do you? It's on water, you know it's on water, but you know it's going to be within a certain spec. From how far up was he? See, I don't even know that information. Let's see, what would be your viewing distance up there? 1,000 feet. Okay, let's do 1,000 feet. Let's see what comes up. Visual flight rules. Small cloud forming over the airport at less than 1,000 feet technically requires the airport to allow. Okay. How far can a pilot see? Okay, this will give us an idea. Here is the theoretical distance you can see from a plane at altitudes given perfect working conditions. At 1,000 feet, 38 miles or 62 kilometers. At 5,000 feet, at 86 miles or 140 kilometers. So I guess that's the maximum, 5,000 feet. So yeah, but we want to know, can they determine size? Here we are, always doing research, trying to figure out stuff. He's meant to be a pilot though, Nick. But he would know this, wouldn't he? Maybe not. Dun, 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 dun. Number 2 must be disciplined and fly no further than 6,000 feet. Any vessel of greater length than 660 feet must be equipped with deck. Let's talk about the rules of a ship, I guess. Okay, we didn't really find the answer. So what can we do? Can pilot determine length of boat on water? How about that one? Oh, look how spelling is. Okay. Let's get into rules. It's not going to be easy, is it? Okay. Size of boat. What the hell? Size of boat. I suppose if you know the size of a boat on the water from years of flying, would be able to estimate the size of an object too, wouldn't you? Size of a boat. So he's always landing on the aircraft carrier, right? So, length of... Let's see. We assume he knows about the aircraft carrier. Length of aircraft carrier. Let's start there. So you must know what 1,000 feet looks like on water. That's what I'm saying. 1,000 or 1,100 feet. Boat on water from 1,000 feet altitude. What if there's any examples? That would be really good. Probably got charts like this one here, is it? What's that? Boiling point? No. Free fall? No. What have we got here? Triangulation. 1,000 feet. Well, you can find out the height of a plane from 2 locations. So, how would you work out the size of a boat though? I think it would have to be experience, really. Now what's this one here? Altitude, pressure, nope. Oh, I got bore, boat. Okay. What's a boat look like? From height, that's what we want, isn't it? Boats. Seen from altitude. So we get a reference point ourselves in the head. Okay, so how far up was that? They ain't going to tell us, are they? So that would be a perfect example. Let's see. Speedboats. The floating cargo ship or oil tanker. Fata Morgana. And of course, that's been on various channels, including UFO Planets, saying, was it a UFO? Yeah. What else would you have to type in? Look at that thing there. It's flying all-electric boat, Miami. Let's have a look at that. Got sidetracked now. Right, it's got hydrofoils. Sea bubbles. Okay. All-electric boats. How long the battery lasts. It looks pretty good. Looks like a car for the sea. And you get all encapsulated so you don't get wet. Now you want it to be like a submarine, so you can just go down to your underground base. And you got yourself a flying saucer. That looks like a Tic Tac. Could that be what they saw? Something like that. Does look like a Tic Tac. Does it retract and have wheels, does it? Oh. Does wheels come down? That's the hydrofoil. Must have wheels, surely. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I'll post a link to that anyway. I forgot what I was looking for. Oh, right. Satellite photographs of boats. Tic Tac boats. I'll just post that on the side there. Fascinating. I've got to wrap up though. Boat seen from plane. Oh crap. I requested it anyway. Look at these stupid things. That looks like a Tic Tac. So it makes you wonder, that looks fairly old too, doesn't it? It makes you wonder what people are developing out there. Electric submarines that can fly as well, you know. Howard Hughes. We still haven't found what 1,000 feet up looks like. Let's try that. What's 1,000 feet look like? Yeah, they're doing a parallel one here, are they? 1,000 feet is further than you think. Okay, let's have a look. Geography of punishment. Set it to investigate whether 1,000 feet is an appropriate size for a sentencing enhancement zone. What's that mean? Right. Around protected children. Okay. So at least it'll give us an idea what 1,000 feet is. So, 100 feet from school property, found that at the distance it was impossible to communicate except by shouting. So that's 100, and that's 1,000. 250. 250 feet from the property line. The authors had to use cell phones. Is it 1,000 or 100 he's got over there? Oh no, that's 100. That's assuming. Okay. 250, oh yeah. It's getting really small now. $500. And I can't see him in the other one. Yeah, we can barely see him. Yeah, the lamppost there. 1,000. Yeah, so can just barely see him way in the background there, way back there. Well, 1,000 feet away from children makes that's fair distance. Yeah. As if people are going to keep to it though. So it's a couple of pixels. So you know you have to be close to the water, wouldn't you? If it's that small and you see it with your eye. So did he then come right down and try and capture it? Let's see. Have we got any information on that? What altitude was Fravor when saw Tic Tac? We ain't gonna get a straight answer to that, are we? Not looking like it's. Not sure on this one. Probably have to do some reading. Refresher. What altitude was Fravor? Maybe we can say that. Quotes. Okay, let's come up with that one to start with. So let's see. Given day, 28,000 feet, 120 knots. They've seen that on radar. Ghost tracks. I didn't see it. They're talking about the speed it moved between altitudes. Okay, what's this? Yep, birds normally fly close to the surface off the ground. So, for example, you're not going to see birds flying at 5,000 feet. You're going to see them more down at like 2,000 feet. Okay. And below, like down to surface. This is just the kind of how birds normally operate. So they must see birds, so you compare it to birds. Typically not alone, so you can physically see them in a flock. Okay, so that makes sense. So it'd form a sort of a V-shaped pattern probably, or a line of them. Don't see birds at 5,000 or 10,000. That's just not how birds operate. So he's using birds as a reference. So if you can see birds at 2,000 feet, he's going to see a Tic Tac then, isn't he? Still, how did he know the size of the Tic Tac? Because you know what birds look like in a flock, but Tic Tac is something new. Still, you've got to only compare it to what a ship looks like an aircraft carrier at 2,000 feet. And no, it's got to be tiny compared to an aircraft carrier. 140 feet. 1/20th of an aircraft carrier. So you must know what a plane looks like on a deck of an aircraft carrier then, in that case. So that makes more sense. So he knows what planes look like on the deck of an aircraft carrier from 2,000 feet. Which is what I'm saying. But yeah, I'd like to see a picture of that. And Mick is wrong, obviously. So yeah, that's 1,000 feet. Obviously you're going to see an aircraft carrier from that distance, aren't you? And you can start to see the cars here. I don't think there's any cars beyond that last one, which is a bit of a shame, because the car would have been a good reference. But yeah, 1,000 feet. So you can tell that's a house at 1,000 feet, right? Well, maybe it's 700, 800 feet, but still, even 1,000 feet, you'd know that was a house. So yeah, I think Finn's correct. Anyway, we'll leave it there. And we carry on again in a couple of days' time again. No doubt there's more to cover. I know Secureteam's put up some more junk that I need to go over. But it'll have to be another day, I think. Hoax channel. Probably can skim over it. Anyway, he's done the Pentagon UFO report. Bingo. It's got a lot more views than I have, but I bet he hasn't said much about it. Let's have a quick listen anyway.
Gentlemen, I have a plan.
Intro. Well, you guys remember a couple of videos back, I told you guys that in between the longer videos that are around 10 minutes to 20 minutes, I'm going to start putting out videos of what I like to call Insomnia Bites. And these will be shorter videos, 3 to 5 minutes long or so, where I can focus on one topic or one piece of UFO. Not seen that yet, check it out.
So he's focusing on the low attention spans, and he's still creating low attention spans when people should be looking at live streams, longer videos, and actually absorbing more and thinking more. Let's do like a 5-minute whiz bam, and they're gone, and they're not thinking about it anymore. They're not going to learn anything from 5-minute videos. Oh, what happened to it? Alright, he's I thought that was the thumbnails. So he's promoting what?
We're cooking with gas. I'm starting to get videos out much faster, so check out the almost 20-minute long video I just posted showing some amazing
and it's gonna be later cobblers.
UFO footage and information. And so today
amazing UFO footage. See, I gotta look at that now.
was the big day, the release of the Pentagon's UFO or UAP report, the declassification of what the Pentagon knows. Now, I've said all along, guys, that nothing was going to come of this report. Now, while Louis Elizondo, Jeremy Corbell...
Yeah, but why? You know? You can say that and you can be 50-50.
A number of others are on CNN, swaying with the wind and changing every other week their analysis of what's going to happen. Well, the UFO report is...
That's a blimp.
...going to be full of information. Well, it's probably going to be nothing. I've stood firm from the beginning.
Seed pod or something similar to that. I don't think it's a balloon, but it could be a clear, one of those clear latex ones. Not clear, is it latex? Yeah, I guess it would be.
That the people that lie to us are not going to suddenly declassify what they know about aliens.
Okay, that's obviously a blimp with...
But anyway, here's the report.
Blimp with the panels on the side.
I'm taking it from The Verge, just
The Verge,
one of the many websites reporting on it. I'll put the link to the PDF download down below, but here we have it. Intelligence preliminary means we're not telling you jack shit. Have a good day. And so we'll scroll down here, you know, it gives the scope and assumptions regarding the report and whether...
So, yeah, the other people did a bit of breakdown of it.
Their UAPs are real, of an alien nature, SG sources, or United States government forces, people in the military, discuss it with colleagues. Although affect the operator's ability to identify true targets, such as enemy aircraft. Number 2, natural atmospheric phenomena, which basically means...
I think even Mick West did a better job than he's doing here. Blackvault is probably one of the better ones so far.
Able to confirm, however, that these systems accounted for any of the UFO reports we collected. Of course, it's not ours. Foreign adversary systems.
So yes, so that's all we've got on that. Not really much at all, it's just skimming over it. They talked about debris. Plastic bag can go 1,000 miles per hour. But they're saying it was anomalous as well. It could be a whole line of plastic bags, and suddenly they're getting one of them reflect back on the radar, and then they get another one that's a mile away, reflect back on radar, and you think it's gone 1,000 miles. Maybe, you know, something like that. That's how you got to sort of think of it. But still, yeah, you can't discount a radar and an eyewitness saying the same thing, can you? Two different systems, two different sensors in sense. A human biosensor and electronic. 9 pages long, so yeah. That's his attempt. And this one here, which he's saying is some incredible footage, so let's just skim over it for initial analysis. Alright, so we exposed this one as a banner plane.
I want to say thank all of you who joined the Secureteam live.
And that one there is internal lens reflection, which I've talked about many times now.
Stream. yesterday. It was awesome. It was hilarious. I edited out, I trimmed out the first 30 minutes where we were messing around with the audio. I left in 20 minutes at the beginning where we were doing some shout outs and other cool talk. So check out that live stream. The UFO video reviews start at about the 20-minute mark in that anymore. So, but everyone was commenting. He doesn't know what it is. Zoomed in shots we're looking at. I mean, this looks like your typical metallic flying saucer back in the 50s. You can actually see it's moving. It appears to
you can actually see it's moving now on this video.
Possibly be spinning, and I'm going to show you some other flying.
We couldn't see that on the third phase of the main one because they zoomed in straight away, didn't they?
So tell me what you think. And you know, while looking at this,
I won't tell you what I think. I'll tell you. Blah blah blah.
And we discussed this in the live stream. Was the story and video where the news report came out of what looked like another flying saucer that dropped.
It's a little like CGI, yeah. Bullshit. And space tank, yeah, we covered that one. And what have we got here? Something, a balloon in the sky, was it? Oh yeah, that one. What else we got?
Like that? Yeah, that's strange. Now,
not really.
Now on to the next one.
This one rings a bell. That kind of looked like a reflection.
Obvious flying saucer was captured over China. Don't know if it's real or not.
Okay. Alright, is that the triangle?
Not, but we're going all out flying saucers here today. And here we have a glowing circular or oval object moving.
So that one was debunked anyway. But yeah, when I saw the other one, if it's a triangle one.
Obvious flying saucer was captured over.
I'm just trying to get the end of it again. Let's have a quick look.
That's strange. Now on to the next one.
Okay, there was some lights underneath it here. Is that the building that's cast in the shadow, perhaps? Right, I'm just trying to get it. See that there? Looks like a building. And it's got the bright light over here. So it might be part of the illusion that's casting up there. But anyway, just carry on. What the hell? Okay, we've got some bright lights aiming at the camera here, so is it lens flare?
Look at that thing, just slowly moving back behind the skyscraper.
I don't know, I think it might be a lens flare, that one, and the guy's just moving his camera on a slight angle to look like it's moving. Devious. Could be even a plane in distance, but still, these lights are very suspect. It's gone behind a high rise, so yeah, it could be a blimp, right? Okay, so it rules out lens flare. Unless it comes back out again, does it? Oh yeah, here we go. That's got to be a blimp, right? Stupid, really. What's this one? Oh, that's a bit suspect to me. CGI-ish. Something you get on third phase. Could it be a blimp on a slight angle, of course, coming down to land? Or advertising balloon being lowered by a cable that we can't quite see. So yeah, looks more like an advertising blimp. Okay, what else we got? Advertising blimp. That's not the restaurant. That looks like a water tank in America, is it? That we debunked. You can't see the legs because it's got fog.
Okay, so yeah.
Don't know, is the angle changing?
There were just a few flying saucer videos for you guys.
Is that it? Okay, that's it. What's
in 2012. So back in 2012, a mystery object out in space blocked most of the light coming from a distant star in our galaxy named VVV-WIT-08. The star was dim for around 200 days before finally becoming visible again.
I thought that was explained as a possible, like a belt of meteorite rock that would go around and orbit a certain period of time. Did it repeat again? Kind of remembers there was something like that where it's been debunked as like a asteroid belt going around and then blocking out the light. But yeah, we're going to finish up now.
The weird phenomenon has not been observed since. However, new data is coming in, and I'll post a future video this week on.
Hasn't been observed since, so maybe it's a huge belt that only shows up once in every 12 years or something. Like it might be an extreme orbit of some mass pile rocks. We're just in the right perspective for our radioscopes, I guess.
This because I haven't got all the details yet. We'll even say quotations as NASA dimensionally into what, as I said in the live stream, the thing could have just parked itself behind Saturn or Jupiter for all we know. I mean, of course NASA's going to say it just moved right out of the solar system.
And yet it's a new report out says it wasn't using a solar cell and it was misleading that it slowed down or something. But information is always changing and the theories get ruled out in the end.
Objects like Oumuamua to several not-so-unique space rocks, a plethora of heavenly objects constantly visit our celestial backyard. That is the...
Yeah, so now they're studying that more since they entered the solar system. So that's just normal science news now he's doing. Anyway, people love it. If you read his Twitter account, I'll just bring that up and then wrap up. Where is this? There. You have a listen to some of the comments here. So what's up, guys? Thing of the new videos. What do you think of the guys? Hey? So what do you guys think of the new videos? I think he means think. Happy to be back. Poggers, what's that mean? Proud of you. Keep on coming, Tyler. Loving the new videos. These people are strange. I'll watch it later. Do up to you, sir. Still catching up on, so no spoilers. Idiot. I was just saying to my girlfriend how happy I am to see you posted again. The video about the giant object entering the solar system was mind-blowing. Get off the weed, Reverend. You could just scan RS feeds of news, of science websites and just have it show up to you every day, and you have all the news the same as what he gets. Did you say, and probably be more accurate too, did you say you had an issue with another YouTuber? Of course he did. Lions Ground, remember? But now they're buddies, and they're swapping money. And other things, probably. Happy to have your videos again. And of course, Nocturnal News took down his hit piece. I wonder why. Tut 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 tut. Okay, that's enough of that. And a keyword, you have to wait for another day on that one. I know I said I was going to show it next live, but yeah. I think this one needs to be about the Pentagon. And the wrap up of other things I left open. You can see I never get through it all. Maybe because I talk too much, maybe. Oh, you're all grumpy. Grumpy lot of people out there. Okay. Good night all, and I'll see you again in the future. Even though we're ahead of you, we're still in the future in New Zealand. We're a day ahead, you suckers. We're time travelers, Kiwis. Hey, I didn't see you there. Sorry, Mr. Kieran. Yes, this is live now, but it's going to re-air on YouTube soon. So don't worry, I'll be there too. And you better chat on the super chat next. Probably take me 20 minutes to get it up there. Because people don't come on Twitch. So it allows me to edit out things. Get a copy of it. Because Google can do some nasty things. Especially if it's got what they think is protected by copyright. Even though it's fair use, what I've done today. And of course people get credit. Get a plug from me. If what it's worth anyway. Good night, and I'll see you again on YouTube. And I've got to click the button here quick.